Our next speaker, Mr. Gerard Jipping, is from the Netherlands. Dogs have always been a part of Gerard's life from 1976, starting with Afghan hounds. He is also a proud owner of French bulldogs and currently a miniature smooth dachshund. Around 1985, he started to show dogs, becoming more and more interested in dogs. He started his cynology study in 1992. 27 years later, he is a judge for the FCI of Group 10, 5, and 1, and breeds in Groups 2, 3, 8, and 9. Gerard has also been active in many canine boards and dog events, including the National Sighthound Show Committee, president of the Dutch Sighthound Club, president of the FCI World Dog Show in 2018, former president of the Dutch Kennel Club, and FCI board member since 2011, currently serving as the vice president.
It is not always easy to speak after a lunch, because I myself always like to relax a little bit. So I hope not that I disturb you too much, and that I get your attention with a few things what I will talk about. I'm self a very positive person in my life all the time, but sometimes also a little bit naive. Do I want to change this? No, I don't want to change this. Even if I am sometimes surprised that by my positivity, it is not always coming out what I like. But I want to think still in a positive way in which matter also. These 3 days till now, we hear about a lot of problems. A lot of problems where we think about how we can solve it. It is not always easy to solve it. But one thing is clear. You won't be number one on your own. Never. In which sport, in which activity on. You will be never number one alone. Then we have, for me, I did already say it a few times, a little bit problem. I'm not a veterinary, I'm not a scientific. That means if I want to understand something where they are talking about, then they should take it more in my level, in my... Because a lot of readers will say the same, they cannot understand what it is going about. And this is our problem in our communication. Because if we are talking about the veterinarians, the breeders, the judges, and the welfare, they have their own languages, their own way of communications. And one of the things is that we must bring this together. This is not easy, but this I'm still positive in. That's why I'm happy that we are now by the first World Congress to try to go in that way. This is a beginning, and I think we should go in this way further. I go now to my topic. If you see here, I have the whole 3 days I was sitting here, in this place. And here downstairs is a Yorkshire. This Yorkshire that looked 3 days long to me. All the time directly to me. And I was all the time thinking, what you want from me? And one moment I was thinking, it looks that she is smiling to me. And then I looked to the other eye. Oh no, she looks a little bit aggressive. Or is she maybe nervous or in stress that she cannot come out of this? I don't know. But this, I go to this point. I'm also here, not a specialist. I'm also blind. I'm not a specialist, what I said, a lot of things. I come from the Netherlands, and I'm happy that the orange is a little bit away, because it was much as you see now. And especially last weekend I was happy with this, because especially for the Spanish people, Max Verstappen is coming from the Netherlands, and he win the Formula 1. Why I put this here on this way? Why I put all these things, what I did? And I did even much more as what is written here. If it is rings to it. My activity that I was starting, You will not believe it was cleaning the showground. I was so happy that I could help on the show. You will not believe how this dirty work was, because it was in a cow marketplace. So all that was stay, I could clean. But I had a lot of steps: organizer for international shows, ring steward, breeder, judge, presidents, a lot of things what I did. Always with a kind of passion, always with a kind of will, and always with the idea I want to help. But now to the point where it's going about stress. Is it by the dog the stress, or is it by the human the stress? Because if I think in all the points what I did in the show world, and it's also in other things, because I come also with a racing track, because my origin breed is Afghan hound, all the things what I did, I had stress. I had a lot of stress. I had not enough money for the show. I had not money enough to do the education for the FCI judge. I don't know what kind of money. There were not enough to come to the show. A lot of stress. Was it stress? Was it really stress? Or was it exciting that it will go on? That I manage this, what I want to do? That's why stress is a difficult point. We talk about a lot of different kind of things as we're going about welfare. And veterinarian in the Netherlands, now I'm a little bit sarcastic. I know a young veterinarian who just came out of the university, just studied, who didn't have any practice, did say this on the hand from pictures. That it is not good, and it is really cleared out that the dogs are stressed on shows. She could see this, especially on a winning dog ceremony. There she could see. And constantly licking. Now, this is the same what they are doing. According to the veteran, they are stress signals. Now I go, copy did learn me this. I should go back. I go back. I still look the same. This was short ago, so I didn't change a lot. This is short ago. If you now look to the face of me, what I stressed, was I in stress? If you look to the dog, was he in stress? Some say yes. Some say really yes. And you know who was the most in stress on that moment? That was me. As an owner, the dog, he didn't care. He was on the place where he wants to be, on my arm, and that was it. And this is where I go to. But the problem is, if somebody is writing this, and somebody is writing this, again, a little bit sarcastic, from out the desk, and not have the experience, and not have the knowledge from the moment to be there, to see what is going to happen, then we are in some negative way. After reading this statement, the veteran, my first reaction was also, what about the complaining now again? Now I think on Copy's presentation, what we are doing now again. But this was what we were thinking. And then slowly I did calm down a little bit. And I was thinking, why? Maybe we should give a little bit more attention about this. Why attention about this? Because if some veterinary, this young veterinary was actually from a well-known welfare organization in the Netherlands. So if they say and started to say this already, what can happen? What is the next direction? We talk about brachycephalitis. Or is the next direction, the dogs are stressed and you can see it and we will prove it? But I think it is good that we learn a little bit more about what stress is by dogs. Stress by dogs in shows. But I think it is not only by the shows, it is everywhere. If we talk about stress. If the dogs are stressed, or unhappy. It's not always easy to him to make the feelings known to us. This we know all. Some can be irritating to us, but it's not always easy to see it. As owner and judges, it is up to us to be allowed to see a sign of stress in our dogs and help them getting rid of their fears. The fears. How you can see that it's the fears? You can see it, of course. Are we all an expert on the dog show in this way? I'm not sure about that. We must find out more about the causes of canine anxiety. Learn how to recognize the symptom and discover some simple ways to reduce stress in dogs. Now, here comes some word what I didn't know before. Not as a breeder, not as a judge. But we have two directions. We have the positive stress and we have the negative stress. And this distress, where we're talking about mostly, they talk all the time about distress. There's never somebody who said, this dog is not distressed, this dog is stressed. Nobody. But it is there. Because if my sighthounds in the past going to the racing track, and he's standing before the start, nervous, but is it now distress or eustress? Because he wants to go. He likes to go. And let me please go, he will say to the owner. Then again. So this is not a distress. This is a positive stress in this way. Because it gives him power. It gives him idea to go. But it's a positive way of assisting the development. So what I like to talk about in the future is, if we talk about stress, next to the brachycephaly, let's talk about this in this future, because if these signals already coming from some people that they talk about it, they will come more signals. Because one thing is, I think, clear. Our dog shows is not always beloved by a lot of people. And I don't want to say only the welfare people, because there are also welfare people who love to go to the dog show and show the dog. I know them also. But it is a way to go. Negative stress is called distress. Stress of this manner can damage an organism, resulting in illness, behavior problems, and such as anxiety and aggression. This become a visual circle. This will become a real visual circle that you have to get a problem with, because if it is once in, how you get it out. Stress can affect us both physically and emotionally. Therefore, they're always linked, these two. Whether you are experiencing stress or distress, the psychology and effects on the body are essentially the same. The main difference between the two types of stress is a matter of your perception, how you feel. This is visible, this is coming on, and this is really a matter how you feel. Because a lot of us, for sure, have already this stress. Some speakers maybe, before this presentation do, some because this Yorkshire there is looking all the time to you. But we know all the words stress. But we are not good enough to mention if it is positive stress or negative stress. And this, I think, we should think about. And there is coming, again, my positive way about it. I want to talk about positive way, about positive stress. And I hope not that somebody from you or one of the dogs has experienced extremely distress, because for sure this is not good. No loving dog owner or judge, veterinary, welfare organizer, or I don't know who, they are loyal friends and they don't want to be stressed or anxious. How to spot the key signs of the stress of the dogs? This is the point where we have to do it. Easily confused with other emotions. Because whatever stress you have, that gives you emotions. That really gives you emotions. In which direction also. Stress can make dogs and owner feel miserable. Do you have this? I had in the past, I did a lot of studies, and I had a lot of exams. And I couldn't help myself, but all the time, one day before, I started to have pain in my stomach, and I had a lot of problems with myself, and actually, I don't want to go to this exam. On the moment I did it, and I was passed, what a positive stress. But that was a moment, because we have a lot of times only a small moment of stress. Whatever stress it is, only you must not come in a vicious circle. Dogs, they look like Sherlock Holmes, but they cannot really directly speak to us. So we need to tune freedom to exercise the adequate condition with their body language and actions. There were already some colleagues who did speak about it these 2 days. I like this. This is already so old. I would that I could say it is in my age, but 65 was a little bit younger as me. But there came well known as the 5 freedoms by the dogs. We did already start also one of these 2 days. And I'm very happy that this is there. Because this gives the 5 points, give clearly, I think clearly, what we need for the dogs. Clearly what not only the dogs, but all the animals need. Actually, the human being needs the same. And that the FCI is doing something on it, I think I was also happy with, because in 2018, decided to have it in the statutes, that so where members as contract partners, extent which is possible to each member of contract partner, in particular all dogs, are entitled to following. You see the text a little bit different because it is more specific on the dogs, but I'm already happy that this is one of the basics in the statutes of the FCI. So, copy said can the FCI do something? No, he said. But actually, in my opinion, they can do something. They can help, they can provide material, and they can look like organizing this kind of conferences to help the people to go in the correct way. The causes of stress are very diverse. You may be stressed at work, nervous when you're meeting new people, or anxious when your daily routine is disturbed. In my work, you saw what work I did by the government. The only continuity, what I had in my work, was a continuity of changes. All the time changes. I was connecting to the politics. So if the politics changed, the education material was changed. And all the time again. So I'm used to change things, to go forward in the future. Our dogs can also get stressed, of course, because we know how stress makes us feel. We certainly want to help relieve our pet stress as well. I saw by Barbara some bench which I thought was 3 or 4 Siberian Huskies in. I can imagine that if the dog's in there, that he is stressed. Of course, because it is small. But on the other side, you have also some breeds together who love to be in this bench and lying together on one place. What is stress? For the one, negative, distress, and for the other, positive stress. However, our dogs don't express the feelings, slam the phone, or throw a tantrum. I can tell you I was maybe 30, 40 years, I was thinking I could beat the world, working very long in the days, till one time around 11 o'clock in the evening, the case comes on call, and instead of that I take the phone up, I take the whole phone up and I throw it to the room. And I said, now it is enough. I don't want anymore. That was on that moment distress, extremely distress. So, but it was also for me the time to think, Gerard, go in another way. The signs of fear in dogs are often subtle. Some stress-related behavior even mimic normal behavior. I don't know if you know the Schapendoes. It's a Dutch breed. is a very happy dog. And if he sometimes is going to the ring, he jumped in between, up, and then they go up, and then I hear sometimes judges from abroad say, my God, this is not a correct movement. The dog is stressed or whatever what he is doing, but he's crazy. Not knowing that it is not an act from the dog's stress, but as the dog is a happy dog. He likes to do it. Jumping is normally his way. This is in his working process. Some indicators of stress. Kogel and me, we find a lot. But Kogel and me are not always happy to find a lot of things what we can see and what we can use for this. Shaking or shivering. Is it stress or is it cold? Sometimes I like to be the devil's lawyer. Extreme whining or barking. My dog sound is somebody is coming at home by us. The first thing what he is doing, start to bark like crazy because this guy or this woman shouldn't be in my place. This is my place and not his place. And for sure, this character, you know also by your breed. Shedding, painting, yawing, drawing, and licking, all kind of things what we use, if they see it, what we use as negative. Yeah, it is not totally a dachshund, but it looks like a dachshund. That's why I put it in here. I don't know from who I stole it, from Google, but I think I will put it in. It is saying the same as the one in before. But here's some other one. Loss of appetite, destructive behavior, and pin up back or ears. There are some other points here. That is. So we have a lot of signs. We have a lot of signs where we're talking about negative stress, distress. But is now all what you see distress? And not corona. I can talk about experience. Because my doggy, my last nice, lovely doggy, was born in the corona time, in COVID time, pandemic. And what was happened with this? I bring it home, and I couldn't go nowhere with it. I couldn't go to some training, I couldn't go to visit some other people, but everything was closed. The city where I live, everything was closed. So I thought by myself, maybe this is the reason that she's so crazy on the moment that somebody comes at my home. Because that was the only place for her. It was her property and not from somebody else. But for a long period we had these problems. That had made a consequence for as well the human beings as the dogs, and especially for our puppies. Barking, fear, biting, anxiety. Sometimes I do it good, sometimes I do it bad. Depression. Many owners of corona puppies are now in a difficult period because their dog was not properly educated or socialized during the lockdown. As the judges, and for sure also as the veterinaries who has a practice, for sure you had already to do with them. For sure you had already them on the table or in the front of you. The generation at the shows, we are aware of the shows and we did already deal with this. But how we go work with this, how we deal with this. This experience judging, I think it is also the common sense must be there from the judge. Because if you go to a puppy, or now junior, who is coming from this time, for sure he will not be happy if you come straight on that, not one dog like it, but if you go there and you want to go directly to his teeth and you're laughing and you do very close, touch him. Take the time. Take the time, especially in this time, and for this breeds, for these dogs who was born in this time, take a little bit more the time for especially puppies and juniors, because we can also damage very easy their future. What I said, the results and assessment tool can lead to that some dogs end up in shelters. Because if we go now to, I remember me that in the Netherlands Kennel Club, one moment they said, I think it was 2021, that they were very happy because there go more pedigrees. More dogs were asked. The breeders couldn't produce enough. And I'm really happy because normally in our country it's going down. So this is not a reaction on the pandemic. It was a pandemic. The shelters were also empty on that moment. And now the shelters, stray dogs, shelters, are full again. If they are lucky enough, these dogs, they come in hands from behavior experts. But in a lot of cases, the owners, and we all should already say to them, go earlier to behavior experts, to go to them and let your help. Because if you have not the knowledge to put up this puppy in this time, you will damage this. But with some help, and there I come back to my first point, you won't be never number one alone. Is here the same cases. How we can help? Yeah. Just act always calm and avoid sudden rumors. This is, I think, by every judge, it is quite normal. I see sometimes else, but this should be. Do not use cape and or hats or other possibility, but even clothes. I had this experience just ago. Here they talk about the Day of the Dead. In Europe, they import Halloween from America, and they put the Day of the Dead and the Halloween to each other. So it is a mixed form. And for 4 weeks ago, where I was smiling, I was on a show, and the best in show judge and the stewards all were in these clothes with his heads and with the face like painted like here. Do you think that every dog look happy with that? A lot didn't like it at all. Till the judge decided, I will put my hat off and I will put also the cape off, and I start again. And this is what I see also more times on shows also, that the judge wears a simple hat on. If a dog is not used to the hat, start going back and say, oh, what is that? When you want to appear authoritative, this is not new. This is for the judges, should be already old news. No eye contact, and or smile when you want to see the dog teeth. So don't look like the girls. This is too much for the dog in the show ring. In the FC is clearly written disqualification points. And I thought Wenke did talk about the standard and how to judge and how to handle. That we should use all the qualifications. But we should also use the standard in the correct way. Because there is really clearly written behavior and temperament, active of overside, only functional and clinical healthy dogs. They should be excluded. If you see this as a judge and you want to be nice, say on a nice way from, I'm very sorry for you, but he must go out. And if you don't want to be like nice, then you say out. But please also don't forget, excitement is not negative stress, but positive stress. If the dog starts to run with a not experienced handler and he's going around like crazy, give him the chance to calm down a little bit after 1 or 2 rounds. And this is a problem, because we as judges must quicker and quicker and quicker judging, because the organizer wants to be on time ready. But take the time if you think that the dogs burdens it. And in a lot of times things, I think they earn it. An happy jumping dog, I like to see. And especially if they are young, my God, let them jump and let them do what they want. I need only a few meters to see if the movement is going correct or not. So if he is jumping the other meters, don't punish because of the other meters, but give him the positive reaction on the first meters. So let's hope together with all who are involved to find the communication with each other, to talk about our problems in a positive way, and let us try to solve this problem together, and for the human and for the dogs. Thank you very much.
I think many people here have been showing dog for many time, and I think all we have the experience that we have retired dog or dog that we decide this day are not going to the show, and many of them we have to close the door of the car because they try to enter in the car because they want to be to the show. Do you think those dogs suffer of stress?
If I go in the past to the racing track, I did like lure causing more, and my dogs, they know that we go there because they saw already that we go there. And he walking around in the garden in my home to when we go. And then they jump in the car and they are crazy on the racing track. Is this negative? No, for me, I enjoy it. It was positive. Stress.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
I want to thank the FCI board members for giving Mexico the opportunity of having this important World Congress for Welfare and Health for the dogs worldwide. We are really pleased and thank you so much for giving us this great opportunity. And also I want to thank all the speakers from all over the world who participate in this great event. Thank you.